Lex talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it.
Ooh, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Gotta have you, baby.
Let's talk about it,
Let's
baby.
talk about this shit,
We're
baby.
talking about it.
What are we
Episode
talking
37.
about,
Talking
baby?
about it today.
Let's
Talk
do
to
this.
me about it.
Talk to you about what?
Episode 37.
Oh my God.
Wow,
37
episode
episodes.
37?
37.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
we're
like
up
Crisis
there.
so much.
We are up
We're
there.
up there.
I'm about to buy
Yeah.
the Corvette.
The dirty 30s.
Corvette.
Oh.
Oh,
geez.
man.
We're
Every
deep
week
in the
for
dirty
37 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
No, that is. That's called longevity.
Consistency.
Proof of concept.
I think it ties in with our
Speed.
episode a little bit.
Compounding interest.
Big compounding.
Yeah.
Introduce us.
Without further ado, my name is Thomas McCauley, your head of partner relations, and to my left I have
Frank Grizzly Lewando, the COO.
Frankie D, CEO.
Appia Fragoletti, Director of Banking Relations.
and now
Oh, well, Louis. King Louis.
Sorry, King
This
Louis.
dog.
And now introducing the number one lead generation experts in the world.
I know who that is. I know
Lexington Capital.
Let's fucking go, baby! Woo! Wow.
Now we gotta leave it all episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
oh,
it's
yeah.
got
Rummel, I hope
Don't-
you get
don't-
that.
don't
I
sit
hope
on
you
it,
get
guys.
that. Gotta have you, baby.
That can't fall.
hear
Episode
the backstory
37.
on that.
We're gonna crush this episode.
We crush every
100%.
Because we crush shit.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Consider it crushed.
We
What
crush,
bounce people's
we
faces
crush
off the
boulders
mat?
and turn them into rocks, and then we
Yeah.
crush rocks and turn them into pebbles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Definitely rocks to pebbles.
Yeah, we were crushing rocks back in episode 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was
yeah.
easy.
We've moved on.
The rocks might have nothing to do with that.
Mount Everest.
Those are my boys.
Yes, sir. But episode 37, guys, this is going to be a good one. Very educational, very informative. Going to teach you guys a lot. And it's going to be about lead generation. And it's going to come from the horse's mouth, the best team out there for lead generation in our space and quite possibly in the universe.
Oh, that's a statement.
Prestige.
Investors.
Level 80. Possibly you. I'd invest in Lex. Fuck.
Hell yeah. Soon.
How do I invest?
Just
In
you wait.
About 2.5
But wait, there's more.
So let's dive into lead gen, guys. So obviously, we're in the traditional and alternative financing space. So lead gen is everything for us. It's kind of like how we live by the sword, die by the sword, live by the leads, die by the leads, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in our space specifically is always trying to figure out like the lead sauce, sort of say. And I know especially when we first came in, that's all my questions were to other people in the space. Like, where do you get your leads from? How do you generate leads? How do you do this? How do you do that? And we finally, 2.5 years later, have put together a really good and dope system that generates us a ton of inbound leads, ton of outbound leads. So I'm here to kind of talk about both. So with lead generation comes 2 different strategies. So there's an inbound strategy that you could have, and there's an outbound strategy that you could have. So now things that are compiled in both. So inbound strategy could be anything from like PPC leads, could be from like our partnership division where we're getting referred clients. So I'd say those are going to be the 2 biggest like inbound lead strategies, is running any sort of advertisements online and people physically applying with you, as well as SEO.
And those who don't know, PPC is pay-per-click, correct?
Pay-per-click ads, yes, thank you. And then just any organic lead generation where people are finding you via the web and they're applying through you and you're not necessarily going out and finding them, right? It's your ad dollars that are driving the sales in. And there's a ton of outbound lead generation tactics like cold calling, obviously, is your bread and butter.
Can't go wrong.
Never. Text blasting, email blasting, voicemail drops, I'd say are probably, the most predominant ones in our industry specifically. So.
One thing just real quick, like with the whole cold calling, like people always say like, oh, get away from it, get away from it. Yeah, get away from it, but like it's going to be your best stuff sometimes, like we get some big deals in that kind of thing.
Those are the cleanest
100%.
ones.
Yeah, they're the biggest ones. It's what we're going to dive into, but it's old data, new data, whatever kind of stuff you're getting. But like nothing beats a traditional cold call. It's a great time.
And that should make you guys feel a lot better that the biggest broker in the space is still outbound dialing
Yeah.
all day long. And especially like when the way that we hire, we don't poach people from other industries. We hire from within. We hire local hometown kids, hometown heroes. That's what we are. So you don't want to give a kid $50, $100, $150 leads like the
No.
first day they start.
God, no.
So that's why cold calling, no matter what, like whether you ROI off it good or not, which it should be honestly your number one ROI source, you definitely need to put everybody who's newer on the dialer, getting the cobwebs out of their mouth, talking to people, getting better, and should be hitting the dialer for like 3 to 6 months depending on like how good and how quick they get and how hard they work.
Yeah, get those marbles out. They got to have a metaphorical pair of balls between their legs to really hit them. You got to be willing to get the rejections and keep on pushing forward,
100%.
like we were talking about with Chow on the episode the other week.
It's true.
Got to have that grip behind you. But if those are really the best leads that come in, we see them all the time. I mark all the lead sources on all of the clients that come through the Lex Talk program, and we get tons of referral partners, of course. Another lead source, referral partners, but a lot of them are our cold callers.
Why do you think cold call is such a good lead source?
I think cold calling is such a good lead source because, we know how the lead sources are. There's a ton of them. You get these people trying to sell these leads on LinkedIn, or you get
The
these
packages.
People, you get these people who are just getting absolutely blown up by every single business.
Yeah.
Every broker in the entire universe has that data.
Yep.
When you're cold calling, there's a lot of needles in the haystack that most of the time aren't going to answer.
Yeah.
But when they do, they're basically untouched. You have way higher of a chance to get a first position clean file from a cold call than any other lead source out there, really.
No,
I mean,
100%.
I would put partners, because
Cold calling and partners
I would put
are going to be
partners
two
right
most
there, too.
organic in a sense.
yeah,
No-
my whole
no
job
doubt.
is lead gen in a way.
No doubt. And cold calling is going to be probably your cheapest route, especially at
Absolutely.
first. And
1000%.
to have the cheapest route and then an ROI is you possibly the best is really good. And like it's just kind of how you go about it. You shouldn't be sitting there and cold calling out all day long. You gather data up. You create a hit list of people who are qualified, have good revenue, good time in business, good industry, good location, all that. You compile a list of, and then you hit that data. So like kind of how like the life cycle is of a sales rep who starts with us is like their first day they're dialing out 1,000 times. Then by like month 1 they're probably dialing out like 750 to 800 times. Then by month 2 it's probably like 5 to 750. Month 3 like 250 to 500, and then like so on and so forth because they've built up their hit list is like what we like to call it at Lexington, and eventually it comes to a point where like you only need to bring in business like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 hours out of the day depending on where you're really at, and the rest of the time you're just hitting your book of business. People that you funded, people who are approved and they got approved at your company but they didn't want to take the deal, you didn't close them on the deal. Those are great leads. People who have been declined out and you educated them on how to get better credentials so that they can get funded in the future. Like those are all leads that you need to be constantly following up with and talking to them constantly.
And that's what Robbie does really well. Shout out to Robbie.
Shout out Robbie.
He'll fill his pipeline with qualified people who may not be interested right now, but they had a decent conversation. He knows he's a business owner. He knows he's qualified. He does good revenue. And it's inevitable that at one point in time in that man's business lifetime that he's going to need some sort of financing, and Robbie's the one who's calling him.
Yep.
So Robbie's going to be the one who gets his business.
Yep.
And there's things that's so great about Robbie and it's so many of the guys here at Lexington, how we coach everybody, is that nobody builds their pipeline out like we do. Everybody is probably stuck.
They try to sell on the first call every single time.
And they're still dialing out 1,000 phone calls a day, 6 months, a year into this, and probably on the verge of quitting their jobs
because they don't realize how to pipeline correctly, like you said. They don't understand how to do it.
You really have to line that pipeline up, and so many of the guys, Robbie especially, really, really do it well over here. And you're constantly going down, like you just said, literally.
One thing too with the cold calling is like from like a executive standpoint, monetary, like don't be afraid to run that shit up too. Like let's say you get a list of like 10,000 leads, you paid X amount for it. Like don't call it for just a week. Hit that. You're not talking to all those people in I guarantee you 3 months time. So if you're just starting out, it's the least expensive way to do it, and like you have all that data for so long. You get the guy, take him off the list. Now you have 9,999 other people to go.
Yeah, you sift through the data, you find who's qualified,
Exactly.
and you kind of go from there.
And that's a sorry to cut you
No,
off.
no,
I was
no,
gonna
you're good.
That's a really big thing about lead generation too. Is when you get your leads, maximize them. You can't just call them and it didn't answer, and it's like, all right, that lead was no good. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, there is
only
only so many business owners out there. Like there's hundreds and thousands of them, millions of them actually, but there are like a finite amount of qualified leads. So you're right with that. One thing that I think is really funny, like talking about cold calling right now, is that like everyone's probably like tuning into this episode, like what crazy lead sources Lexington have? Cold calling's your bread and butter. Damn.
I've heard you debate for years, should we get more of this leads? More and you always revert back. We're buying. We're doing more cold calling.
Yes.
Bro,
Month over month. Like, there's this lead source. There's this. There's this.
We've
there's
tried
that.
out everything. We've tried out everything. And like the biggest reason why I think it even works so much more nowadays than it did like maybe like 5-10 years ago is because nobody wants to do it anymore. Nobody wants the grunt work. Everyone would rather pay $50 for a Facebook lead that is unqualified. And instead of fishing through and finding a whale that does $500,000 in revenue on your UCC list, that stands for Uniform Commercial Code. I think those are going to be the best data sets that you guys could buy for cold calling. But one thing that is true with cold calling, though, is to make sure you get a dialer that could call out multiple people at once. You don't want to be hand dialing, calling from your cell phone. That would not be worth it. Then at that point, you pay more for, some pay-per-click ads. But if you could dial out 4 to 10 people at a time, like that's going to be your best course of
The
action.
volume game, 100%.
One thing to throw into that at the same time, I think you should touch on this, is making sure that you vet all the numbers that come through and make sure you're not getting anybody on the DNC list and the do not call
that
list.
is very important.
Oh yeah,
Because you can end up in a little bit of a hole if you call somebody on that do not call list and they know what they're doing.
Text
They're a
time.
litigious type of person.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, make sure you get yourself a good scrubber when you get those lists. They're really cheap. You could send out your list. Again, if you're just starting out and you're buying your first lead list, like you don't need a monthly scrubber. Like we have a very, very good scrubber over here, but like you can literally just find a website, upload your lead list, one-time thing, and 4 months later when you buy your next one, then you do it again. But at that point, make sure they are scrubbed. You will burn yourself to the ground, with one bad phone call.
It's true. All right, let's talk about some other outbound lead generation strategies.
So one that we've tried plenty of times is like the offshore, offshore dial-ins, like hot transfers, live transfers.
Yep.
Yeah, like they are what they are. Like at the end of the day, they're not it.
Why are they not it?
Listen, they're not it because for what you want to pay, you're not going to get what you want. At the end of the day, like you can pay $1 to $4 an hour per person, and get not great stuff. Like there's going to be language barriers. There's going to be bad information.
Pay way more than that.
Yeah.
And if you're paying per lead, they'll charge you $40 to $60 a lead.
100%.
That's not
That's not a good CAC.
Yeah. That's not a good CAC.
Not
That's
a
not a
good
good CAC. Think about it. Like you have somebody from the Filipinos, from India, who doesn't have as good as an accent as you, reaching out and dialing these people. The biggest problem with it is that they don't understand, Americans as much, so they're not fully qualifying these people. So they would send us a lot of people who do no revenue, no time in business, or looking for like a real estate loan, when we weren't doing real estate at the time. And the biggest problem was it, reverting back to what Appio was saying, is that's where you're going to find your biggest problem with litigation and finding people on the do not call list. Because people will literally like find the Filipinos that call them all day long, and they learn eventually that they're going to get transferred into American, and then that's how they screw us over. So that's really been the only time we've ever been in really like hot water is with that. Because as much as they say these guys are gonna scrub their own leads and stuff like that, they don't end up doing it. And even if you give them their leads, like they'll still find that one guy who's on DNC still and transfer him over, because that's what these guys do. They prey on these Filipinos, and then they get to us, and then they screw us over. So
and like let's call it what it is too. I mean, realistically, everyone's gotten those calls from Offshore talking about your extended warranty.
Hang it right away.
Everyone thinks it's a scam, and the only people who are getting transferred into you are either usually very desperate for it because they are unqualified, or targeting.
Agreed.
So I'm not a fan of them.
No.
And then again,
those dudes do work so fucking hard.
They work so hard, and I give them props. It's just they're just not up to par to where you need them to be in order to succeed.
Tasks.
And at the end of the day, like if you're paying Americans commission and it's not a salary-based job, like what's the difference?
I was literally just about to say,
just employ more Americans at your business. That's kind of what me and you came to a conclusion with.
Like instead of paying $2 an hour for something we don't want, and then paying $12 an hour for something we do want, why not just bring the $12 an hour in source and pay them a commission?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Which routes us back to cold calling.
Yes. Yes.
Right back, full circle.
Right back,
Full circle things. Let's talk about.
So we're not talking about lead generation. We're talking about cold calling.
this is what this is.
Let's talk about email blasting.
Ooh,
Email blasting is going to
Got a few
be
intellects.
your best and cheapest outbound strategy, in my opinion, modern day. So the biggest cost to it is going to be who you pay in order to, do the emailing through. So there's places like Constant Contact. You could use HubSpot.
Campaigner.
You could use Campaigner.
Salesforce.
Brevo. So there's a ton of different companies that do it. That's going to be your biggest cost, is getting hooked up. MailChimp is getting hooked up with these companies.
Use that for real estate for a
One
while.
thing that I'll say is it's tough in our space because we typically do like an outbound strategy when these companies more want you to do like a hot lead source strategy, like people who have actually opted in to like some sort of advertisement that you guys have had, like Facebook or Google lead. Those are the people they want you targeting. If they find out that you're not targeting those people, they could like shut you down right away. So it is a good cheap form, but there's a lot of strategies that kind of go into it.
Me personally, I love it, especially for partnerships, because we have such a niche role that pretty much no one else does. And every single other finance company out there is looking for some sort of monthly line of credit program.
Yeah.
And so, we put that content in front of people in our industry's face. maybe they don't click on the first one or the second or the fifth or the eighth.
Yep.
But I've had people call me. They're like, dude, like, it's been like 2 months and I've gotten so many emails from you guys. I finally was like, all right, let's see what it's about.
Yeah,
And they
figure
become
this
our
out.
best partners. It's for me, I think that's one of the best ones, personally. I love it a
Think
lot.
about yourself. Like I have so many emails I'm subscribed to that like I just still let them just send me emails all the time.
You never
and
know.
I'm just looking at it every single day.
Yeah.
And that's me personally as the owner who gets a crap ton of emails. Like it takes me like a half hour to go through my emails in the
You
morning.
heard it. Keep emailing Frankie. He's looking at it.
I'm staring at it. If it's worth it, I definitely look at it.
Yeah.
But definitely going to be a good cheap alternative. It's good for two ways. It's good for an outbound strategy, and it's also good for like your already clients, like people that are already in your pipeline.
Yes.
Just to
Yeah.
stay in front of them, people that you funded already, people that have approved and didn't take your deal, declines, because
Sold them
you're always just letting them
product.
know, like you don't have to try to sell them every time. It's just like
Heck.
talk about their industry. Send them an email when it's their birthday. Send them an email on their work anniversary when their business turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Send them some information about our company.
Our
Like,
newsletters.
Our newsletters, our new product that came out, anything. Stuff like that just to stay in front of these people. You do not always want to sell them. The outbound people that are not opted into you, those are the people that you're going to hit with like, hey, you know, I got a line of credit for this, you know, equipment financing here, SBA here. So.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely really important to stay in front of your customers like that. I mean, I don't know if it's really considered lead generation, but it's definitely more retention.
It's definitely lead generation. It definitely is.
Sending out those Happy Easter, Merry
Yes.
Christmas, Happy Holidays,
sense,
staying
yeah.
in front of, staying in front after.
There's a
in front of
duality to
them,
it, yeah.
keeping them pipelined, absolutely.
There's two ways you could go.
I
about
mean,
it.
even though they were previous leads, they're now currently, technically they are still leads, but
Clients.
now they're re-entering leads.
If
so-
anybody's in our space too, you already know that if you fund a deal, it's still not your lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to keep on. You're funding somebody, and they're getting called a million times after that. So I like how I tell my guys is you fund somebody, and you always assume that they're going to take money from somebody else in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. Do not, even if they said, Frankie, you're my guy, I will go to nobody else for you. Do not assume that because you could just somebody else could catch them at the right time, at the right place, and they need money. Our industry is a timing thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and that's why we have to stay in front of them.
And I've heard a lot of clients even just be like, dude, like I thought I was talking to you the whole time. Like they're busy as hell. They get a call, someone's talking about financing. Sometimes they'll just automatically assume it's you,
Yep.
and it's not. And there goes your deal.
Yeah.
Just
Or
like that.
sometimes they only think that you represent that one funder. So like we funded you with Rapid Finance. Like they think like, oh, I don't want to tell Frankie I need more funding because like he represents Rapid Finance. So that's why it's also important as a rep to make it known to your merchant that I offer tons of different products and programs, and I partnered up with a lot of different financial sources. I'm not just partnered up with Rapid Finance. We have tons of different lenders and banks on our platform. So if you need money tomorrow, make sure you come to me and we'll figure it out. So that's very important. to put
Always
into
talk
their
about
head.
Or else these
everything you
people
do,
also
yeah.
feel kind of degenerate in the sense that they're looking for
Yeah.
money the next week, but they
They
don't want
do,
to.
yeah.
They don't want to come back to you because like, oh, Frankie's gonna think that
Yeah.
I'm really struggling over
Yeah.
here. I don't want to go back to him.
Yeah.
Make it known that we don't care. We,
We
want to
offer
just
multiple
genuinely help
sources
you.
of fucking financing. Damn it. Damn it. That's what I say to
We're
clients.
allowed one.
Effing financing.
Effing fun.
I'm sorry.
But,
Remy, you want to throw some audio in about email marketing? Throw your 2 cents in.
You
Come on.
should.
Come on, let's hear it real quick.
I got a guy came in from email today off a cold call list from January that you gave me.
Mhm.
He got 60 emails before he actually decided to apply for a line of credit.
Wow.
Wow.
That
Wow.
60 is horrible. He should have gotten in sooner. But
Yeah.
like you got to stay in front of
Yeah.
these people and you have to recycle the cold call list.
I
Can you
wouldn't call
talk
that-
about warming up the domains a little bit?
Warm up.
You got 2 minutes.
I'll try to make
Yeah.
You want to come sit real quick?
Yeah.
Remy,
Sure.
Whoa,
Come on,
let the-
come
let
on,
the
come
camera
on.
Yeah,
see
we'll do
him.
a
Come
swap.
on. Let's go. Let's go. Get in here.
Wow.
Let's give it up for Remy. Come on. We're bringing Remy on because he runs our email marketing over here. So, got to get the expert in here real quick to talk about it.
I don't want that old phone booth.
and now.
Yeah, Remy, make sure,
Oh,
make
you're
sure you
gonna
clap.
introduce me?
Make sure you clap.
So yeah, email marketing. Warming up domains is one of the most important things that we have to do when we start doing email marketing. You can't just, sign in with HubSpot, whatever platform it is, and start blasting out 200,000 emails in a day. You'll go to spam, you'll get reported, you'll get kicked off the platform immediately. So a big process is actually setting up the domains to be capable to send out that many emails and get good results from it. So typically when we get a new domain, we'll warm it up. We'll send out 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and then we bump it up to 10 and 20 and 50 and 100,000 until we can send out reliably. I'm going to send out an email to this list of 30,000, emails. But that's very important. So it's not just
Every
like
day.
yeah.
30,000 every day.
More,
More.
definitely.
Just depends how warm that domain is.
It depends on the domain. It depends on the platform we're sending on, and depends on the list.
And just so that you guys know, a domain is a website. So like rule number 1 of email marketing is you never send from your domain. So our website's lexingtoncapitalholdings.com. You do not ever send from that domain, because that's how all emails start popping up in spam, and you can pretty much get blacklisted. So that's what he means by creating multiple domains. You're actually creating multiple websites and landing pages in order to warm up the list a little bit.
I had a partner do that and chopped his email, Mr. Chow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to
It's a sad thing.
do a whole new thing.
We went through it a little bit
He had
our
to
first
rename his
year because
business.
we hopped into
That's
email
why he
marketing a
renamed
little
his
too
business?
quickly.
Very
So,
quickly, yeah.
yeah.
And we struggled at first. We thought we could just hop onto Brevo, and just let's send out some emails, and like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
We got kicked out immediately.
That's another big thing too, is making sure that the emails that you're sending to are valid emails that are accepting, because that's why I never had a problem, because these are all people I spoke to. I know their emails, I interact with them, so all of them were good. But if you start email blasting emails that may be outdated or full or they bounce for some reason, that's a quick way to get
and it does a number on your reputation. And if you start to lose that sending reputation, where Google or Gmail or Yahoo start to realize that you're sending out to spam, bad email addresses, people that aren't subscribed, and they catch on to that, that's when you get blacklisted and you get kicked off, and now you're not sending any emails.
Yeah.
And if you do it from your own domain, you're clipped.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
sir.
crushed it.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
good,
me.
right?
Crushed it.
It's
Yeah.
hard being up here. I always sit
You
back
did
there. I'm
really
like, these
good.
guys are stammering. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
come on, get over it. And I'm sitting here all red.
Yeah, no, you did
You're not
great.
right.
You look great.
you
You
look
look
nice
great.
and
Give
pale.
it up for Remy. Give it up for Remy. Switch.
Switch.
Time's up.
Switch. All right, so let's dive into 2 more outbound strategies, because we're about halfway through the episode. These are 2 that I'm honestly not like the most fond of, honestly. One I'm fond of in one way, and the other I'm just not fond of at all. One's text blasting. So I like text blasting, but I only like it for warm data. So you really got to be careful nowadays texting cold data. You could get in a lot of trouble if you're not authorized to send to a certain number. They have to opt into some sort of lead, like some sort of campaign that you've had in the past. So very, very important. But I think for your warmer data, because people love texting. So like all of our partners who have opted into stuff, that crushes it for Tom. Crushes it. All of our funded deals, our approved intakes, people who have opted into leads through us on our landing pages, crushes it. But when we've tried to hit it cold, that's when we've stumbled into some problems, and also we just never had like a lot of luck, because a lot of these other people they get a lot of texts.
Yeah.
A lot of other people are doing this. It's not just us. So I think texting is good for your warmer data, in my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Again, like honestly, pretty much every form of marketing, outbound for me is good, because these are people that I interact with, and we have a product that they need for their clients. So like text blasting is great for me too. I never really have a problem with it. Some people tell you to F off because they don't realize exactly who you are, but that's okay. I'll call them after and be like, hey, like, why'd you tell me to F off? They're like, that was you. But for me, it's good. But like you said, the cold data, very dangerous game to play.
Yes.
And it
For
costs a decent amount.
For service-based businesses, though, it's like it's badass. Like if you're a restaurant and someone like books with you, it's like for a table.
Thank you for
and-
booking.
Yeah, you can shoot them a text. Then now they're in your pipeline forever, and you can constantly like I got a text from Insignia today, $50 off, a $150 check.
We're going after this.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all good stuff. So service-based businesses, it's good. For outbound lead strategy, it's not the greatest.
No.
No.
Yeah, but besides all the trouble you're into, especially with the warm data, how you're saying like it keeps them in. So like how we're cold calling people again. You get someone who's in your pipeline from let's just say a month ago. Now we're texting that data. He's like, oh yeah, that was Robbie from Lexington. Let me give him a call. Like I forgot about him. It's definitely good as a data retainer, and like to retain leads.
Yes, sir.
Quick touch on pipelining. That's how all of us got here, is because Frankie basically cold called his old leads.
Pipeline us, yeah.
We all got the call.
He went through his book.
It's true. And some people had a pipeline harder than others. Like Marty was a tough sale.
It was.
Marty did not want anything to do with Lexington, and now he makes a lot of money.
That was a
And he
layup.
enjoys his life a lot.
Yeah.
So.
I took a couple of phone calls.
You took a few phone calls. You took a few follow-ups.
Yeah.
You took my Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Each other's Christmas
got
Eve. I was gonna be there regardless. I took you away from your family.
You got my Labor Day.
Yeah.
You got my Easter.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
I did take Christmas Easter. I did. I'm so sorry about that.
It's all right.
But
It's
we
not my
needed
holiday.
it. Quick side story.
Oh,
we're
this is a funny
we're
story.
6 months in business, and I'm doing business with this guy who had our whole CRM. And never put the fate of your business into one person, who owns your whole CRM. Go with a bigger, larger company, as crazy as that sounds at first. And basically, he shut the whole thing on us. We got into an argument. He tried to poach one of my employees. We got into an argument. He shut off our whole CRM and dialer system on the day before Easter, on Saturday. So me and Grizzly got together on that Sunday. I'm like, dude, you need to come to the office right now. And we somehow got Salesforce up and running, got a tech guy on the phone and everything, got it set up, and we were out dialing at 9 a.m. that Monday.
Wow.
It was one of the wildest things that this company's had to go through.
I can't wait till that's in the movie.
Oh my God. it was way crazier than how I'm going about it.
You're gonna
right
see
now,
me in a
but-
bunny costume. I'm there. Like every good heist movie. You son of a bitch. I'm in.
I'm just picturing a bunny helmet and then a lot of
Jason
black
Statham
leather.
movie.
That's for a different podcast. Happy.
Well, to be frank,
Oh, that was good.
Gotta have you, baby. Other outbound lead strategy, voicemail drops. Not the biggest fan of voicemail
Me
drops.
neither, honestly.
Yeah. What's your beef with voicemail
My
drops?
beef with voicemail drops is just like,
What is a voicemail drop?
so basically it's a, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a quick
It's
call
a-
that goes straight
yeah.
to voicemail, and then it's like a
It's a pre-recorded
pre-recorded
message.
voicemail.
Like, hey, like for us, it would be like, hey, we have you pre-approved for a $250,000 line of credit. Click 1 to come into like a sales rep or some stuff like that, or the phone number, and they call the phone number back, and then that would get routed to the sales rep, and then it's either kind of like they're like, "F you, why are you doing this?" Or they're like, hey, what's going on with this line
Hey,
of credit?
man, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ringless thing too. So like the people, like their phone doesn't even ring. They just like, oh, I guess I missed a call. I got this voicemail. But like then you run into a thing, and what we ran into is they'll be like, hey, I'm just calling back from my doctor's appointment. Like, nope, that's not what this was.
Yeah.
Because like how often do you read your voicemail or listen to your voicemail? Nowadays with your iPhone, you click voicemail, see a giant message, you're just going to assume it's a telemarketer or it's your doctor.
I know when we were testing out the voicemail drops at first, like we had something in there like you're pre-approved for X amount of dollars, and they end up on my desk and they're not pre-approved for X amount of dollars,
No.
and it was a little bit awkward at first. So I know we definitely refined that process.
For me, the beef is I guess for partners specifically, like they're busy throughout the day, so they might not see it, and then by the time it's like, it's 5:30, and I'm like kind of like my day goes in like significant waves. So like by 5:30, I'm pretty busy. Like people are calling me, like I'm talking to people I talk to all the time, and then I look at my phone and it's just boom, like
all of them.
all of them at one time. Like for me specifically, it was a heavy wave thing. Like you never know when they're gonna call back, and when they do, it's like a lot.
And even on the tech side too, like make sure you have tech that supports it too. Like we're fortunate enough to have like a good tech stack over here, but like if you're doing an RVM, like, and most of the time, like there's, let's say a 500 call minimum, you're going to get a lot of calls coming in, and it's going to ruin your system. Ruin your system if you don't have anything in place. Like, luckily we have a good tech stack here. We have a good system, and it was fine. But like, if you're a newer guy in the game, this is definitely an experienced man's lead source, but give it a try. Some of the companies don't require as much bulk.
We didn't really ROI from it. I've heard of people who do.
Yeah.
We just didn't have a good experience with it. Could have been our data. I think we have good data, but that's why I didn't really believe in it, because we ran it for like 2 months, didn't really ROI, and we have pretty good data. So I just didn't think it was worth it.
And our data gets deals other ways.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Cold calling.
Yes, sir. So moral of the story, as crazy as this sounds, 2 best outbound lead strategies for Lexington specifically is going to be cold calling, and it's going to be email marketing.
Yeah.
So
I really do like the advertisements, the Facebook ads.
Yeah.
For me specifically. And that's the hard thing about like trying to find people on Facebook specifically, because not everyone advertises what they do on Facebook.
Yeah.
But when they see a lead, it could just be John Doe from Louisville, Kentucky, or Lexington, Kentucky, just sitting there on his computer, who funds 10 deals a week.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this is interesting, and clicks on it. And you would never know unless he clicked on that lead.
Yeah.
So for me, those leads are really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So inbound lead strategy wise, the 2 most predominant at Lexington are going to be your pay-per-click. That's just running advertisements on any sort of social platform. So Google, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, whatever the case may be. And then our business development team, aka partnership program that Tom runs, where they're basically going out and they're building strategic relationships and partnerships with people who have a footprint in business owners' lives in order to entrust us to help fund them. So now my take on PPC in our industry, it's hit or miss, honestly. So in my opinion, you got to really tailor the lead, and what I mean by that is you need to make some sort of credentials for the lead. Because if you run a bunch of Facebook leads and you don't put you need 600 credit, you need 500K in revenue for the year or whatever, you're going to get a bunch of people who just started their business, they have 440 credit, they just started their business, they don't even own a business, they're looking to do something, and they're just not necessarily qualified for revenue-based financing. Now, we're a lot luckier in the sense that we offer traditional financing, which the requirements, as crazy as this sounds, if you know about our Lex Talk program, aren't as strenuous necessarily as the revenue-based financing, because obviously revenue-based financing, you need them to be doing some sort of revenue.
Yeah.
With the credit-based financing, if they don't have the correct credit, at least we could get them a co-signer to sign on their behalf and fund with them. So I'd say for like 90% of our industry, Facebook PPC is not really going to be the way. I think for us, we're lucky in the sense that we offer credit-based options and we could always get a co-signer. But for the most part, I think Facebook's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
Google is it's going to be more expensive, but that's where you're going to find better leads. But the problem is you're fighting for dollars. So there's people who literally have like a stronghold on the industry because they just could outspend you. Like think about it, like On Deck, Cabbage, Mulligan, Credibly, funders that we work with, we actually compete against for online advertisements. And they're a publicly traded company. They're underneath Innova. So obviously, like, I love Lexington, but On Deck has way more marketing dollars to spend on us. So like, they could just brute force their way to the top of freaking Google by just outspending us.
And it's like to the point where you could be looking at your Trustpilot reviews and you see another brokerage advertisement in your Trustpilot reviews.
Yes.
It's like, what the?
No, like the Super Bowl. Didn't On Deck do the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a
They
Super
have,
Bowl
they have
commercial.
football
They had a
commercials.
Super
I
Bowl
see On Deck commercials all the
Can't
time.
wait for our Super Bowl commercial.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be a good
It's
one.
going to go hard.
But yeah, pay-per-click, man, it could definitely be a pay-to-win game, and it definitely is a pay-to-win game. You know, if you're in a niche industry or even not a niche industry, you're a contractor, a salesman, an insurance agency, you know, like you got to pay the dollars to make the sense.
We just started getting into it, and we're 2.5 years time in business, and we've built up a really big marketing budget. But for anyone who just starts, and anyone who's even 2.5 years in, because we're so much better than anybody who else is, like, I don't really suggest it. Like, outbound strategy is going to be your cheapest, most effective, and cost-effective way to generate leads. And then you just pipeline these leads, and you just keep hitting them every which way.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that I didn't touch on really as well, is that something that you need to do for outbound lead generation, it's very important the kind of data that you buy. So you need to find a trusted lead source that you could go to. And like still to this day, we buy data. You know, we're not all like inbound lead generation. We still buy data for email blasting, for cold calling, to build up our list and to build our pipeline. So we definitely still do that. But you got to be really careful because there's a lot of people who rip you off and stuff like that. So find a good reputable company, a good reputable person that does sell good data.
And scrub your leads.
Now, devil's advocate for, say, a service-based business like a restaurant or like a local plumber or a construction worker, them on Facebook, they have a way better chance of getting a lot of leads in. And for a few different reasons. For one, the costs are a lot lower because there's not as much competition because those industries don't make as much money as us. It's not finance. Obviously, there's millions and millions of billions of dollars in finance. So you could really kind of like outspend. You don't have to like outspend people to win. And think about how many people locally are running Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of people do it. You'd be like really surprised. It's not that many people. So you could really kind of brute force your way to getting a lot of ads in from being like a contract. Like a contractor could spend like $50 a week and he could land like 10 jobs from that.
Yeah.
Like that's the power
Yeah.
of Facebook leads for somebody like that in a service-based business.
Especially local. I mean, you could like radius it out. So if
Exactly.
you just stay local, like everyone's
Yes.
going to see it.
And
Yes.
with a lot of those
For us, we gotta go
contractors,
worldwide.
a lot of those contractors and smaller blue collar local type of businesses, one of your biggest lead generation is word of mouth.
Word of mouth is huge. You go into
Word.
a Facebook group, just dropping, hey, this new pizza place just opened. You
Yeah.
know, people are going there. You know,
Yeah.
hey, this contractor just fixed my door. You send him a picture, like, all right, I'll put him in my book. You
Yeah,
know?
if you do good business, I mean, like even like me growing up, coming into this industry was very different for me and learning about all these different lead generation services because I went from car sales to being a financial planner to coming real estate and now doing this essentially my 4 bigger jobs and my 3 previous jobs they were always word of mouth and luckily my name Fragaletti carries a lot of weight around my town and some surrounding towns. God bless my father, Fragaletti Builders, shout out Fragaletti Builders, episode 2, 3, 4,
Danny
5,
Green's
or
house.
6. But that was a cool
He did
one.
Danny Green's house, the basketball player.
Wow.
Yeah, that was real cool. I got to work on that job
Yeah,
site
that's
for
cool.
a while. It was
That's
really
pretty
neat.
cool.
But even for my father, he is pretty much all word of mouth. He made a little Instagram. He has his Facebook, but to be honest with you, he doesn't keep up with it, as much as someone really should, because he's more just immersed in doing the construction and doing good work and the visionary of that side. Sometimes my sister will pick things up, but word of mouth is absolutely huge. Back to kind of advertisements. Back when I was working for the Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram dealership I was with, they were the number 1 dealership mostly always on the East Coast, sometimes in all of America, because they put out so many ads, so many different ads, and they were discounting their prices and giving bonuses and fees back for this, that, and the third, and for their leases. They always had the best leasing going on, and you had so many ups walk in, and up is a walk-in client. And when you walk in the door, there's an up system for car sales essentially. And I did very, very well over there with all of their advertisements and some word of mouth as well for anybody that was that was looking for a car. Obviously, I'm putting myself out there, self-branding myself. I know you do a lot of self-branding as well. And I wanted to relate real estate to our referral partners, because when I was in real estate for a while, a lot of my referrals coming in, or a lot of my leads coming in, were from Zillow. And Zillow has a shared rev. They do a rev share, so if you get a commission, they get a cut of the commission on the back end. And I would just get a random phone call on my call. Somebody's looking for an agent around this town. And I kind of relate that to our referral partners, because they send the client over. This client's looking for this, that, and the third, and we'd have a shared rev with all of our referral partners. If you're looking to sign up as a referral partner, we have a great referral program. Come talk to Tom over here. And I just wanted to kind of relate some stuff to other industries as well, because we're so immersed in this space, and there's a lot of different spaces out there, and word of mouth has always been my biggest, mainly because I was always more local.
I mean, referrals are going to be your best thing. I mean, like in sales school with Jordan Belfort, I mean, whatever he did, he had a point here.
He did something good.
He did. Every time he closed a deal,
Show me that pay stub.
70. You show me a pay stub for $70,000. I quit my job right now. Good, funny story. I literally did that to him on Labor Day. I was like, let me actually see what this place is about before I dive into this.
That was before we
into
were
this
making
body shop.
money too.
Yeah.
That was pennies on the dollar back
Well, to
then.
me, that was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. What did he say? Oh, he said every single time you close a deal, the very first thing that you do is you ask for a referral.
Yep.
Like, you get aggressive. You tell them to take out their phone,
Yeah.
call somebody right now who I can help like I helped you.
Yep.
Which is huge, because that one person, it's like the rule of three. Every person knows three people, and then it just multiplies and
Spider web
multiplies and
effect.
multiplies and multiplies. And
Business owners, no business
before you
owners.
know it, that one deal that you closed got
true.
you 9 more.
It's true. Even if you spend like $50 on that lead,
Yeah.
and then that lead then produced you 9 more leads, you just spent $50 for 9 leads.
Compounding interest.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not
That's the
bad.
best lead
Not bad.
around.
And to tack onto your point is that when you close a client, they're at their happiest at that point in time. They just got their money, they just got their service, they just bought their car, they just ate their food. So they're going to be more inclined at that point in time to refer you. So it's like very important, like on that initial call where you're like, congratulations, the funds are hitting your account. Congratulations, you just got your car. Congratulations, you like the food. That's exactly when you drop it on them. And you just said, just like you said, how can I help somebody just like I helped you, And you could even throw in there like this is how I make a living is off commission. So if you could refer me anybody, I would really, really, really appreciate that.
And here, you get a percentage.
Yeah.
Which is huge. It's a whole nother job in itself. We have people making 6 figures on a side hustle. We have a partner right now who's in Costa Rica for the past 30 days, just thousands of dollars.
Living life.
Going at him.
Yeah.
And these are even people, funny enough, that you could like hire too. Like you could hire like a lead gen for like these blue collar things. My grandpa owns a company doing vacuum pump service and overhaul, and he had a guy who sold like 7 different things, and one of them was vacuum pumps. It like tied into some other stuff, but like that's a lead source in its own. This guy's out doing his other business, and if that shop that he's selling, let's say whatever to, also has a vacuum pump in the corner, like now he's just going to do that. So like fractional salesman is definitely its own lead source in its own. That's
Building strategic partnerships.
Yeah,
Which is let's roll into our best lead source, and that's our partner program run by Tom. So talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's the path of least resistance, realistically. This, whether it's an advisor or another funding company, somebody who has built such rapport with this business owner is recommending them to us. So they come in pretty much with no guard up at all. You know what I mean? That's one of the bigger things about our industry specifically. Everyone's guarded.
A force shield.
The force shield. The force.
Jedi way
Jedi straight through it.
It's me every time.
No Jedi mind tricks, just straight transparency. But
Luke Skywalker.
yeah.
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 No Darth.
No
Darth,
Darth.
no Vader.
It was funny, like you were talking about you were making fun of Darth Vader on Monday, and I'm wearing my all black suit with a Revenge of the Sith shirt on with Darth Vader. I was about to take my suit off and be like, "Who you talking to?" But no, the force shield's gone. You talk to them, they're transparent with you. You're talking because a lot of people, they don't just open up right away. It's like when you talk to a partner file, it's like, "Hey, so like, what are you looking to do? How can I help you?" They're like, "Oh, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z to do X, Y, and Z, and I need A, B, and C by this time to do this. And, in a couple months, I'd like to do this too." They really go into, like, their whole plan because they came from someone who they trusted, that trusts you, which is also another amazing thing about partnering with us is you're going to get the cheapest deal. You're going to be told the truth. So it's easy for a partner to sign their name on top of our company.
Yep.
And like that, it multiplies. We have people who were referred over to us that become referrals. And then those people that they refer over become referrals.
That's our highest
It's a
percentage
web.
of referrals is people who got referred to us will then refer us. We have people calling into the Lex Talk room all the time, like, "Hey, is Zapio there?" They're like, I can't find you in the system. Who is this?
Oh, John told me to call.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, John, I love John."
Now let me get you back over to your original representative for a moment.
yes.
It's okay. I had a woman. It's crazy how far people will go to get to the source too. I had a woman who called into the store. I happened to pick up the phone. Store phone's connected to me mainly, so I'll probably pick up the phone. But she called and she's like, "Hey, I referred over a client to a company who referred that client to another company who referred it to a partner of your company, probably about 7 months ago." And I finally figured out what where you guys were. I couldn't find it. And then we just had a great conversation, and since then she's funded quite a few many deals. Like they'll go the extra mile to be like, "All right, who finally did it?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Lex Talk program specifically, it gets a lot of clients who may not have been lendable or fundable money. So it really opens people's eyes. When we're able to get someone who they could not get financing $150,000 when they just started their business based off of a cosigner's credit, they're like, "Oh, okay, there's something going on here," and that's something that they want to talk about. Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to referrals too, always make sure that you have something that makes you stand out.
You gotta have a niche product.
You have to have.
You
a niche
can't just
product.
sell cash advances and expect people to want to refer you clients. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So Lex Talk really pushes that hard. Everyone wants to talk about it, and then when I'm sitting there talking to them about it, I'm like, okay, I also have this. So if this program doesn't work for a client, I also have these other 12 that probably will. And then it's like, okay, and now they're like, all right, now I've really got to tell other people about it because you can do anything, everything. So that's really where it starts to multiply heavily. Not only are the partners finding other partners because you get overrides, but now the partners' clients are finding clients because they want to make some money and they want to help their friends. It's just it's a forever rolling ball of money, realistically.
Yeah.
The referral leads are nice too, because like if you build yourself up a nice referral network, then like it's just passive. Like I'll be sitting there working on a random task, and I'll get a little email like send credit report or send whatever. It's like nice.
You build yourself a little army.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
referral army.
when I was talking about business development. Like my idea of business development is creating like an exterior force of Lexington that wouldn't exist otherwise. Another whole networking web of individuals connected to business owners. Yeah. And it's just like a sub Lexington, you know what I mean? Like a fourth dimensional Lexington. Yeah. That's how I like to think about it. I'm a little weird, but that's how I think about it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. We got a bunch of Lexinites out there selling for us. Yeah.
Putting us on their LinkedIn.
Exactly. Yeah. Putting us on their website, showing us off, talking good about us. So I mean, it's definitely a win-win. One other thing that I want to talk about inbound lead strategy as well, something that you could work on and definitely take some time. We're finally just starting to see the fruits of our labor with this is SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. So that's like if you're a local pizzeria and people look up like pizzeria near me, and then your business is the first to pop up on Google or Yahoo or Bing or a search engine along
Even
those
if you're
lines.
2 extra miles out.
I've had people from Oregon call us.
Yeah.
Saying that they just typed in business financing and liked our
Well,
name.
that's because we've tailored our SEO that way because we fund in all 50 states. So typically people know that it's not like business funding near me. Like they're just typing in business funding. So like we've learned that. So it kind of just depends on like your industry. You know what I mean? Like if I was a service-based business, a local service-based business, I would be targeting near me's, but we don't need to necessarily do that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about SEO, and we're not going to give all the sauce, obviously, but something to definitely work on, something to definitely study. The biggest sauce that I'll give you guys is you need to tailor your website to have certain keywords that people look up, mostly in like blogs and articles and YouTube videos that will then pop up. One last piece of sauce is that Google owns YouTube. They're affiliated with each other. So if you're not on YouTube, you're doing yourself a very, 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 very big disservice. And it might sound crazy, but if you're a construction guy, like it's not as crazy to say, like, because we live in Centereach, right? So Centereach Construction. Yeah. Like make a video that says that. It sounds a little crazy, but when people start to type in like construction near me, that's going to eventually pop up if you make hundreds of videos that have that titled. So absolutely. YouTube owns Google. Google owns YouTube, vice versa. Sorry. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're running your SEO. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sergey. Sergey and who's the other guy? And Larry Page. Sergey and Larry. I don't think they're evil from what I know.
Larry Page, is that BlackRock?
No. Larry Page is the Google founder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Sergey Brimov or whatever. So they're probably
Great guys.
evil. We don't know. Great guys.
Great guys.
For this segment
I
of
love
the
them.
podcast.
Best
You're
people
Best
amazing.
guys.
Oh, Louis did it too. He threw up the.
Yeah.
To circle back about like outbound and lead bound generation strategies, we started out in the beginning to talk about cold calling, and when you first hire somebody, it's important to get them on outbound lead generation strategies at first because they're newer. They don't know if they are a vet in the industry or a vet in sales. They still don't know your process, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to go through the bad to get to the good. All right, it's important to practice the ugly to get to the good. So like when one of our guys is cold calling for 6 months and then he finally takes his first inbound like PPC lead or partner lead at month 7, he's like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
this was a piece of cake. Like, holy crap, this was so easy, because at that point, like, you're just qualifying the client. Like, they came to you, they're looking for funding, they're asking you as the expert, you know, how you could help them. So that's why it's also very important. It's like, don't just give everyone like the good candy right away. Like, make them eat like the bad candy at first, and then it's like,
Makes the better candy taste good.
yeah, exactly. Then the better candy like is like, wow, like
That was my
this
favorite
is
quote.
easy. This is easy when you take these inbound leads. Like, so many reps have said that to us. Like, this is so easy. Like, I don't know why I overthought this so much. It's like they're literally coming to us for financing. I'm like, yes,
They're
dude,
calling
yes.
me for what
you
I'm
just were
calling
not
them
good
for.
enough yet to handle the lead yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, and yeah, definitely don't spend money on leads on people who aren't worth it. It doesn't matter if they leave you because of it. Like, your loyal soldiers are going to do what they got to do to earn the better leads. So that's my 2 cents as well.
Yep. Yeah, especially with the whole candy thing, you know, like if you give them the good stuff off bat, like I don't want to cold call anymore. Like give me more
It's
inbound
true.
stuff.
It's
Like,
true.
no,
and we
dude.
still have vets that take inbound leads that get 15, 20 inbound leads a day who still go in the trenches and still cold call because they know that it's a great ROI, not just for the company, but for themselves.
Yeah.
They know they pull whales. If you cold call for an hour or two a day, you're pulling a whale or two. And you get them into your pipeline, and maybe you're selling them today.
And some of them just like it. They're weird. They just
It's
like
fun.
to
Because
some of our
we're
vets,
dogs, dude. We're
Fun,
different
too.
from this industry in general. Like, everyone wants these tailored leads that come to us. It's like, no, like, I'd rather work harder to get a better end result, and other people don't want to do that. They'd rather fight for pennies on these full pack leads. You know, the application and bank statement leads that they're getting that everybody's getting. Everyone's buying from the same person that you're funding 2, 3, 4, 5 points on. Meanwhile, we're full boating a 12, 15 pointer with a cold call. It's such a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's such a no-brainer. That the guys know. They know, and that's why they revert back to it.
Yep.
And that's why it's really never left this company. It's really more the team.
Yeah.
They want a cold call.
Well, it'll never
I'm not
leave.
taking that away from them, and it'll never go. Especially because of the way that we hire, and because we hire newbies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's important.
definitely is.
Louis is a good lead gen.
Yeah, no,
Louis
Louis,
is a
Honestly,
great
Louis gets a
lead
lot of
He
lead gen.
gets a
in.
lot. He
Yeah,
does
gets a
very
lot
well
of
for
lead gen.
us.
He gets a lot of lead gen. in.
Another lead gen advice: get an office pet.
Yes.
Works great.
Get your social medias up. Realistically.
It's
Oh, yeah.
2024.
That's a big thing, dude.
Produce
like
content.
people see your content and then they click on your page. Like a business owner will see a bunch of kids having a good time and they click on the page and they see what we do and they're like, oh, and then they click on our website and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
and then they click on the number and they call.
Yep.
Because even if the lead already came in, you know, we cold called them. They're thinking about doing business with us. Oh, now they see our socials. Now they feel comfortable. Now they know we're real. We're legitimate. Our faces are out here. We're not scammers. We're not this, that, and the third. Sorry, Louis. And they're more inclined to
Especially in
trust
our
us.
industry, you want to put your face out there as much as possible because people are scared to put themselves out there in this industry because it's unregulated, because they probably don't do the right thing. So that's why our faces are everywhere. We're all over every single social media, every single one of our employees. Our pictures are on it. We have a contact card with our picture on it. The little circle thing for the Gmail, our faces are right in there. Like, we want you to
red
know who
shirts.
you're working with. The red shirts we pride ourselves in. We take selfies and send them to clients. So we definitely do things that are outside of the box to make people know that we're human beings and we're here to help your business and help it propel and help it grow.
Arguably, our faces are a lead gen source.
It is. It is in our
I know
content.
mine
And
is.
we really, I'm happy you brought that up because our content brings in a ton of leads.
Yeah.
Ton of leads.
Yeah.
Usually they'll see it from us running some sort of ad generation, but yeah, I mean, the content, they see that stuff, they love it. I mean, how many leads have we gotten off just this YouTube channel? So many. I mean, people think so highly of us because we have 22,000 YouTube subscribers. Now, do I fully agree with that? No, but that's why we've done this and why we've went out of our way, because this is how consumers think nowadays.
Yeah.
They want to see you everywhere. They want to see you produce content. They want to make sure that you're an expert in your field.
Sharp as attack.
Sharp as attack. Enthusiastic
Enthusiastic
as hell.
baby. Yes, sir. Another JB. And not Bieber.
Yes, sir. No beeps.
No
No
Biebs.
Biebs.
No
Great guy
Biebs.
now, though.
Yeah, shout out to Biebs.
Yeah, whatever.
Better guy than what he
fan.
was.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I don't follow him like that.
He's like,
Nah.
he's getting to JT. Ask.
so he's gonna drive drunk.
All right.
Ah,
man.
damn it, our
Guys,
guy. our
He only had
guy.
one martini.
Damn it.
His
Sorry,
eyesight.
JT.
22,000
We love you,
YouTube
JT.
subscribers. Thank you
Thank you
guys
so much.
all
Yeah, we
so
appreciate
much.
you
Thank
guys.
you for showing
Genuinely.
up. We really appreciate it. That compounding
Thank you.
effect, that compounding interest really is so real. Thank you guys for tuning into our channel. I thought this was a dope episode.
I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was really good. Make sure you guys tune in. Like I said, when I first started on this industry, this is all I cared about, and that's why we wanted to run this episode really badly. So, guys, episode 37. Boys,
Follow
We're-
us.
Signing
Yeah, I was
out.
just gonna
Oh,
say, you
yeah.
know, while we're ending this up, you just enjoyed this great episode. Be sure to tell your friends. Be sure to tell your family. You know, these kids over here are taking over the industry, have taken over the industry, and are teaching you the ways to do it yourself. So
Like, comment, subscribe.
all
follow
of it.
Instagram.
Share.
Hit that like button,
Hit that
guys.
button.
Webinar
It's right here.
live
No, it's right
webinar
here.
Tomorrow
No, it's
night
right
at
here.
7 o'clock.
Sorry, Remy.
Webinar tomorrow.
Live partnership webinar tomorrow.
Even though
7 o'clock.
it's gonna film one before this thing gets posted.
And like, you know, whether you're being held down by a rock or you know you're trying to take
You're trying to grow.
You're trying to grow. You're trying to take your business national. You know, if you're dealing with a bunch of people who are fronting or capping, just know that Lexington's here to really
Yeah.
bring you where you need to be.
No, it's really true.
And we'll lend a hoe.
Yeah, we will lend. We will lend.
Thank you guys again. Don't forget,
Think
like,
big,
subscribe.
guys, in life. Think big. Don't think short. Like our competitors over in Melville. Anyway,
We win.
happy episode 37.
What am I saying now? All right, Louis, you're good.